My name is Sister Carol Brong. I am the administrative assistant to the Associate in Arts Dean. I grew up, first 7 years in El Monte, California. And then we moved to the San Fernando Valley, where I was there until I was a senior in high school. And then I entered the convent. I graduated high school in June of 1961 and entered in September of 1961. I have a sister older than I am and a sister just younger than I am, so the three of us kind of grew up together. Moved to the San Fernando Valley, where my two younger brothers were born in the valley. And the house got bigger and fuller. My dad added on to the house. My dad worked for aerospace when it was just beginning in the valley. My family moved again because of my dad's work to Lompoc, California. And I didn't want to move because I was going to be a senior and this would be the best year of my life. And so they told me I could live with the neighbor next door, and they bought me a car to drive back and forth to school in. And so I got to stay for my senior year, and I cried and cried every time I was back with my family again because I missed them so much and I wanted to be with my family.
So were you the only sibling out of all to enter a religious path?
No, my older sister did. She entered the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet, and so she entered the convent, and 2 years later I entered the convent too. And then 1 month later she left the religious life. And that was really hard for me. Leastwise, I wasn't as homesick anymore, but now I thought, oh my gosh, if Joanne can't be a nun, who wants to make me think that I could be a nun? So I did a lot of crying over that one too, but I decided to stick it out because I was not going to do what Joanne did. And I'm glad I stuck it out.
Did you ever feel that you wanted a family before even thinking about going into the convent?
I had a boyfriend, but I always kind of felt badly because I knew what I wanted to do and be, and we talked about it, so I wouldn't feel too badly that I kind of just held on to him through the prom and everything so that I would have a date for the prom. But he was a nice guy, and I'm sure if I hadn't entered, he would have asked me to marry him because he dated me the whole time. But no, I wanted to be a nun.
Why did you take the role of being the assistant director of the dean's office?
That's probably to tell you all my different roles I took. I was the director of the Learning Center here at Doheny for 13 years. And it used to be in Building 4. We helped develop it. I can remember when we got our first computers in it. And then they built these buildings, and we moved over to where Mr. Fort is now. And I can remember hiring Mr. Fort to help out. I went to the registrar's office then, and I worked for 5 years in the registrar's office. I looked around for another position in the college because I liked working for the college. I liked being with young women, and I liked the people that I worked with. So the position that was open then, it wasn't quite the position that it is now. It was over in Building 10, and it was for the dean of the, it was both graduate and associate programs. It was dean of the Doheny campus. It was her administrative assistant. And so I took that position, but just things started changing in the college, and so I ended up in the position as the administrative assistant to the Associate in Arts degree program.
What is your favorite part about being part of the Mount?
Being with the students, being with the faculty, the beauty of the Doheny campus, but the Chelan campus is beautiful too. The people that come by, they're friendly. I try and make it friendlier too by just, you pass somebody who's sitting on one of those benches out there and you say, good morning, and that kind of wakes them up because nobody said good morning to them or something like that. So try and make it a really friendly place for people and for students, to really help students out.
If you were not a CSJ, what would you be?
I might be a mother, but by now I'd be a great-grandmother probably. The other order of nuns that taught me, and that was in elementary school, were the Immaculate Heart Sisters. So if I had entered the Immaculate Heart Sisters, I wouldn't be a sister today because they gave up canonical status. And so they're like a gathering of good women in the church. And they call it community, and so it's a loose kind of community, not a canonical community. And I'd probably be one of them, one of the good women in the church, trying to make it a better place for everybody.